Hello Baseball Nation and welcome into my video determining who the greatest baseball player of all time is. We got 5 candidates. Let's check them out. Our first GOAT candidate, and although he's not my GOAT, I really do believe he's one of the greatest players of all time, is Willie Mays. 660 home runs. Doesn't even encapsulate how amazing he was in the field. His WAR is 156.1. One of the reasons I don't have him as my GOAT is that 155 OPS plus, which is amazingly special, but does not put him up there with some of the other guys that are on this list. 2 MVPs during his career, which is another number that may not be as high as you would like. My guy who is the GOAT at the end of this video is really special. So stay tuned for that and watch this amazing play that defined Willie Mays' career. That right there, folks, is one of the greatest plays of all time and might be one of the most well-known plays ever. My next guy, may he rest in peace, is Hank Aaron, many people's home run king. Same OPS plus as Willie Mays at 155, and Hank Aaron has 755 home runs. Hank Aaron, unfortunately, I would say, especially with that OPS plus, just like Willie Mays, he was more of a compiler than some of the other guys that I have on this list. I would say he's definitely one of the greater players of all time, but I cannot give him the mark of greatest player. He also had 25 All-Star appearances, a record all-time. 1 World Series win in 1957. He's one of those guys a lot of people love because he really did stick it out with one organization, and that being the Braves, even though they did move. More than some of the others on this list, though, Hank Aaron is probably the greatest man on this list. What an amazing man, donated so much to charity and has done so much for his community. Hank Aaron definitely deserves his spot on this list. Next up, we have Babe Ruth, many people's GOAT because he has the most WAR of all time at 183.1, also the highest OPS plus at 206. His OPS over his career was 1.164. 1 dollars in a season are very hard to come by, much less in a career. He only had 1 MVP, but a lot of his time, the MVP didn't even exist. Babe Ruth did not play in an integrated era or as high level of an era as some of the players do today, as you can see by the way he runs, and it just does not look as athletic as some of the amazing athletes that are part of today's game. Babe Ruth is one of the greatest players ever. Here's my guy that I think will end up being the GOAT by the end of his career, and it's Mike Trout. Mike Trout is the most electric player in baseball right now. He's got the 176 OPS plus on his career, which is better than Hank Aaron or Willie Mays. Not as good as Babe Ruth, but again, OPS plus is compared to your league, and Babe Ruth was not being compared to the amazing players that Mike Trout is being compared to. Mike Trout is going to end up being the GOAT by the end of his career. He's already 75th on the all-time WAR list. The biggest knock on Trout is that he really hasn't done anything in the playoffs. But can you blame it on him? He's putting up some of the best seasons of all time, and his team still manages to avoid the playoffs. In the coming years, he's going to have Rendon and Ohtani, and maybe if the Angels can sign some pitching, they can really have a shot at the playoffs. Mike Trout's mere 310 home runs doesn't put him up there with some of the bigger names on this list, but he still has a lot of his career left to play, and a lot of the guys with the big home run numbers are hitting many more each year. My greatest player of all time, and it's controversial, Barry Bonds. Barry Bonds, no matter what you say, he had the best stats of all time. And the only reason he's not in the Hall of Fame now, and the only reason he's not really as respected as he should be, is because he failed a drug test for steroids, but that was not MLB administered, so the MLB never caught him using drugs. He had a 182 career OPS plus, which is absolutely insane. 162.7 WAR, just 20 WAR under Babe Ruth, which is just about as close as anyone of the modern era has ever gotten. 762 home runs. He is the home run king, and he did this all in less time than a lot of guys with not even 10,000 at bats, whereas guys like Hank Aaron had around 12,000. Bonds' insane walk numbers and a bunch of walk records. He has the all-time walks leader with 2,558, and that doesn't come from steroids. Barry Bonds is my greatest of all time.